Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with your Cthulhu guide. We are going to be playing Cthulhu solo. While Cthulhu is both a very good support and solo laner, solo lane is definitely where he thrives the most. He's a talkative little guy as well. I wish he wouldn't talk so much. That's number one counter to playing Lulu is the fact that he just talks so much. Over in the solo lane, it looks like we're going to be dealing with probably a Mulan. So we're going to be dealing with a physical damage dealer. That's fine. I'm just going to start boots and go into my chalice. I'm probably going to end up getting teleport as my active, which means that I'm just not going to get any active here at level 1. So that way, if I need to get teleport, easy peasy. And if the lane ends up going fine, then I don't have to get that relic.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
For Lulu over here, it is in fact going to be that Mulan. For Lulu over here in the solo lane, I don't know what start my jungler is going to do. I don't know if he's going to do speed to red or speed to blue. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume he's going to do the speed to red right now. We're going to get our 3 first on Lulu. This ability is getting nerfed in the bonus balance patch, but not by a lot. Only by like 10 damage on each of the iterations. So I'm not super worried about this level order. I would still level the 3 first. We get the 3 at level 1, and I also like to max the 3 first as well. So not only getting it at level 1, but also maxing it to first. The reason why we do that is this ability does a lot of damage, like a lot. It does 80 damage plus the projectile damage of 50, and it's a stun, and it's your movement ability. So that's 130 damage at level 1, and it's really easy to make sure that you hit this on the wave / the enemy god.
Be careful left.
One thing you have to be careful about a little bit on Lulu is the early game. You can see how much damage Mulan is doing to me. Mulan has some of the highest damage output in the game in the early stages. And so she's going to be able to kind of bully me in the laning phase. And that's all right. I can just kind of use my 2 to poke out the wave, use my dash on him to get some damage out.
Be careful.
But he's going to be able to bully me underneath the lane pretty decently. Mulan's actually a very nice pick for against the Lulu. The ability that we got at level 2 is our Mire. This ability shoots twice. It is a channeled ability. And when you shoot it out, it's going to do damage and slow targets in the area. So you'll be able to see it right here. And the second part comes out. That second part does the damage again. And it is also a root. So both of them do damage, and then it comes down and it does the root. You can cancel this ability. So if I want to fire off one part of this and then I don't want to use the second, you can right click during it and it'll go ahead and cancel you right on out of that ability. I'm going to go for the kill here. You can see how much damage that Lulu 3 does. People do not expect that Lulu 3. Sometimes in the solo lane, you're going to get bullied out of the lane just a little bit.
Be careful left.
And you just have to go ahead and let that fly until you get a little bit closer to your power spikes. Cthulhu really becomes a very difficult target to kill once you get level 5. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to back it on up. I didn't get my teleport because I thought I was going to get it. So now I'm just going to back up. I'm going to get some CDR boots to be able to spam my abilities. And now I'm going to go ahead and get myself right back over into the laning phase. Our first ability here on Cthulhu is a pretty simple ability called Sanity Break. It is a little cone in front of you. You press it, it does some quick burst damage. But the cool part about this ability is when you hit it on enemy gods, it has a damage mitigation component. So you send out this blast of energy, you hit people, and you reduce their attack speed. Enemies hit by this ability also do reduced damage to Cthulhu for 6 seconds. On top of that, This ability also applies Torment. We're going to be talking about that Torment here in just a moment. Torment is your passive. And so we'll get to that. I'm going to go for actually another kill. That's Mulan's ulti down. I'm going to go for the root. I'm going to hit him with the 1. I'm going to throw down my ulti, and then I'm going to hit him with one more 1. And that should go ahead and put him down. Got to cancel out of this ultimate. You can cancel out of basically all Lulu abilities. Keep that in mind. To cancel out of the ultimate, you just press the ultimate again. To cancel out of his other abilities, you go ahead and right-click. Right-click for the other abilities, click the ultimate again to cancel out of Lulu ulti. Reasons why you'd want to cancel out of Lulu ulti: start getting the cooldown up faster, you don't need it anymore. Maybe you want to cancel out of it so you can use your dash to try to get away from targets, anything like that.
Enemy missing.
So back over to our first ability here. Back over to our first, I'm getting ganked by an Arachne while I'm trying to talk about my first ability.
We have always been watching.
I gotta deal with this Arachne really quick, trying to come over and steal my blue. I'm gonna get this down a little bit lower, and then I'm just gonna use my 3 to dash me out of there while also securing that blue buff. Back over to our first ability. There's the last part of this, which is if they have these stacks on them from your passive, we're going to talk about it, they will be feared for 1.5 seconds. They'll be feared for 1.5 seconds if you have your sanity stacks on them. So now to the passive. All of your abilities are going to apply these insanity stacks. We're going to work on our breastplate of valor here for more cooldown and physical defense. These insanity stacks apply from all of your abilities. So your 1 applies 1 stack of it. 2, if the enemy that you hit is facing you. Your second ability applies 1 of these stacks on each of the drop downs. Your third ability as well hits them with the projectile. They gain a stack of torment, so you can get another 2 from this. Boom, Cthulhu, boom, plus the projectile. If you have 4 stacks on a target, those enemies become insane. If you played against Cthulhu, you can see what that does to you, which is it brings a bunch of spooky things up onto your screen for 20 seconds, and it also can make some sound effects play against you. Things like Thor ult, Thanatos ult, Loki ult. It can make you hear all of these things even though they're not really happening. The most important part about that, is that it will give you 25 bonus magical power for each enemy that is currently insane. So if you make a target insane, it'll give you that bonus magical power, which is awesome. I'll throw down my ulti, waiting for Mulan to use the ulti. Now I'm gonna use my 2 right when he's about to come out of it, so that way he gets knocked up. Spam him with all of the abilities that I can. I should be able to get 1 more off and go ahead and put down that man. Now I'm coming out of my ability. I'm gonna throw down my 2 to root the Arachne if he comes over near me. He is not. My Neja rotates over. Bada bing, bada boom. And I'm totally fine. So your goal with Cthulhu is you are a big fat lane bully. In the early stages of the game, you saw how the Mulan actually put me into an awkward spot. I'm gonna try to follow up on my Neja. I won't have my 3 up, but I will have my 1 up, which should be enough damage to get the kill there. And I'm gonna use my 3 to get out, plus do some bonus damage over to Mulan. So really, with all of your abilities on Cthulhu, you can just absolutely spam in the lane, and you'll probably be hitting the wave and the enemy god at the same time. You really don't have to aim the ability that much. Like, as long as they're trying to kill the wave, you're gonna be hitting them with everything. This is a good example. Oh, he walks up, look at that. Oh, he has to get zoned out from that. Oh boy, I can just smack him like this. Oh look, there's no wave left. I can use my 3 to walk away because there's a Ymir over here. You just kind of spam all of your abilities. You can get credit for that. Now we're going to get ourselves a Breastplate of Valor. And then I'm going to work on a Void Stone, grabbing a couple of wards here on this second back to make sure now that I can get wards out over deep by the portal, and aggressively up here is where I'm going to be throwing out these wards to make sure that we have 1 vision on the fire portal in the fire giant when it spawns. This is very important because the fire giant is easily killable nowadays, like really easily killable at the 15-minute and below marker. So make sure you get those wards out. Just gonna dash my butt right over here towards this Mulan. Not gonna use my ulti quite yet. Not super confident that I would be able to kill him. Hit him with the fear. Now I'm trying to hit him with the root. Now I'm gonna get a little greedy. I'm gonna dive into this. There is a Arachne here. I'm probably gonna die no matter what, so I'm just gonna commit to the kill on my, I'm actually gonna get into a wave. I'm gonna deform on purpose right here so I can dash away and then throw down the root as I'm running away. You do not have to be, oh gosh. I hit him with the fear. I'm gonna die to archers, but he's gonna go down as well. He had those stacks of insanity on him, and so when he blinked in, I threw down my 1, which gave him that 1.5 second fear that we talked about earlier, and that really, really put him in a hard spot. So now that we've got the Breastplate of Valor, we win a CDR build here on Lulu. Getting cooldown is very important on Cthulhu. Specifically, I win the Breastplate of Valor this game because they've got a solo lane Mulan and a solo lane Arachne. So they've got 2 physical gods, so I can very easily get away with going a physical defense item like Breastplate of Valor. Also brings me up to 30% CDR. Now I'm gonna get the Void Stone to give me some extra damage, give me that penetration, and of course give me some defenses for later in the game versus the Soul and the Ymir. So our level order on Cthulhu is 4, 3, 2, 1. Get your ultimate whenever you can get it. Level up your 3 to max, then your 2, and then your 1 last. Your 2 has huge AoE damage capabilities. Thanks for like clearing the wave or being a nuisance in a team fight. Your 3, while being your getaway skill, is so much damage, and you really should learn how to utilize it properly for the damage. And as long as you're building some cooldown, like right now it's 9.6 seconds because I've got 40% cooldown, the blue buff combined with my 30% CDR that I have. That's so much damage, and that's really what you should be doing. Once again, throwing down my ultimate, using my 2 after he loses the CC immunity from his ultimate right there. Just chasing him all the way down. There's absolutely no escaping Lulu. So let's talk about Lulu's ability in his ultimate. You actually can't look at them while you are inside of them, so I apologize if I don't get it perfectly correct. But inside of your ultimate, your abilities change. So when you press your ultimate, you will do damage to everybody around you. You do damage to everybody in your immediate vicinity. You will gain 30% max health. And the duration of this ability lasts a little bit longer as you continue to level it up. When you're actually inside of the Cthulhu ult, your first, second, and third abilities change. Your first ability becomes a spam ability. This is basically just means this is the ability that you are going to use the most often. Inside of this, it has like a 1-second cooldown. You can basically spam it, and it will just do damage in front of you. Nothing super crazy. I mean, it's crazy because it has just a naturally super long range, but the damage on it, you just spam it. Your second ability, which is probably your best ability inside of your ultimate, is a giant knockup. So spamming ability, that's our 1. Our 2 is this knockup that we can use from so far away. And our 3 is actually a very unique ability on Cthulhu. Poor Arachne's trying to run away, and there's just no escaping the Cthulhu. Your second ability is a damage and knockup in the area. You can use from super far. And your third ability does a little bit of damage around your character. But more importantly than the damage around your character, what it does is it heals your allies. So it takes a portion of your health and it heals up your allies that are around you. If you are below a certain HP threshold, I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'll try to read it when we use our next ulti. It actually won't even take any health from you. So in the solo lane, for the most part right now, our goal is to build a decent amount of defenses, really utilizing cooldown in our base damage and some penetration as our main source of damage. So we've got the Breastplate of Valor for the cooldown and the physical defenses. We got the Void Stone for a little bit of pen. Now we're going to be getting a Stone of Gaia. Stone of Gaia is an item that I would almost consider mandatory on solo laners right now. I wouldn't even worry about the passive. The passive on Stone of Gaia gives you that extra HP regen. If you get, you know, knock up, knock back, I wouldn't worry so much about that. What it's going to give you is 400 HP and a bunch of natural HP regen. HP 5 is not affected, I repeat, not affected by anti-heal. This means that they can build all the anti-heal that they like. It's not going to hurt you. So I'm using my 3 over here. Watch how it heals my teammates and keeps my my Apollo alive right there. So what it does is it does heals for percent of max HP, and if you're below 20% HP, it does not take any HP from you. So us building more HP is really important, because when we use that third ability in a team fight, it is healing our allies based off of our maximum HP, a percent of our maximum HP. So the more HP that we have, the more it's going to heal our teammates, which is very, very nice. And Stone of Gaia is just a straight up good item right now. Another part on the one that we didn't super talk about is that damage mitigation portion. That damage mitigation portion does actually change throughout the game. I'm gonna pop my thorns right now because I know I'm getting aggressed on hard. Just trying to waddle. Then he waddled away. Waddle, waddle, waddle. Till the very next day. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Be careful, I'm gonna get myself out of here. So on the one, when you hit somebody with it, it gives you 20% damage mitigation. But also, if they are stacked up and they get feared, it consumes the insanity and it'll increase the base mitigation on this ability. What that means is not only will you get that 20% mitigation, but you can continue stacking this up to a max of another 10% for 30% total mitigation. So right now you can see on my passive bar, I've actually got 23.5% mitigations. So when I hit somebody with my 1, they're doing 23.5% damage less instead of 30% damage less. Arachne's up in the air, gonna throw down my 2. So right when he comes down, he gets hit by this. Pop my health potion. I don't really care about this Mulan beating on me. I'm gonna use my dash to get closer to this soul. I'm gonna wait on using my ulti. I want to try to hit him with the root for the slow, and I'm gonna cancel myself out of my root to get into the big Lulu form so I can spam all of my abilities on him, using my heal there at the very end to heal up my mid lane Discordia a little bit. And now we can all start walking over to the fire giant. I'll cancel out of my ulti just to get that cooldown started. So, one thing that I don't think I've done a good job of in these guides is talking about specifically good and bad matchups, counters, things that you counter, things that you should be picking into, not picking into. So I want to make sure that in these guides I start covering gods that you want to play against and gods that you don't want to play against. So for Lulu doesn't have any really hard in-lane counters. Sorry, Ymir, baby. Not gonna go ahead and let you have that. I'm gonna stay on this fire giant. While he doesn't have any hard in-lane counters, the most annoying thing for him potentially in the laning phase is gonna go. Oh no, that's gonna be that's gonna be close. We got it. The most annoying thing for you in the lane is gonna be people that can interrupt your abilities, particularly your 2. You can see how long of a channel this is. So if you can get consistently interrupted out of that, that's pretty annoying. So anybody that has an easy interrupt, think something like a Hades Sphere can be kind of annoying. But he doesn't actually have a hard in-lane counter matchup. The real counter to Lulu is going to be auto attackers. We are, of course, in an auto attack meta right now. gods like Mercury are popular, and hunters and mage auto attackers. This is the hardest counter to Lulu, particularly when they build items like Kin Size. Lulu gets a bunch of HP in his ulti, which is wonderful and awesome, but it's way less awesome when you're giving yourself bonus HP, so you're giving them bonus damage. So be aware when you're picking Lulu that while you may not have to care a ton about who the enemy solo laner is, because you're pretty much at worst going to be neutral against them, what you're actually looking at is the enemy's jungler, hunter, mid laner. Do they have a, you know, Kronos, Medusa, Ao Kuang type thing? That's not the type of composition that you want to be with Cthulhu, because they're going to be able to burn you in your ulti. You become this big, large, giant target. Yes, you literally get a bigger hitbox. You're really easy to hit. So gods that are building crit and stuff like that are going to melt you. So that's the one thing I would be concerned about. Gods that you're good against is going to be ability-based gods. You're super annoying for all ability-based gods. Gods that aren't going to be able to burn you down immediately. Something like a Thoth, I love going against on Cthulhu, because you can super easily just kind of... Wow, they countered that ward. How rude is that? Guess I'm not going to use my teleport then. Any god that has a dash that can't get over a wall, you're great against. Because you get this ridiculous extended range on your ultimate, it means that anybody that can't specifically jump over a wall has no way to get away from you. So I love Cthulhu against gods that have dashes, not leaps. How we're looking to play Cthulhu in the team fights? You're playing him like a traditional solo lane god. This means that your number one goal above all else is to run at their backline. Be as annoying as humanly possible. You're not much of a peeler, and while you can peel, and while your 3 is a great ability to heal up your team, and you should be utilizing it, you shouldn't be prioritizing peel. That's going to be on your support. Your number one priority is running at their, in this case, I'm running at their Soul, their Arachne, their Chernobog, whoever I can see in my path. My number one goal is to hold down the W key and run right at them. I know that she just used her Disapparate, and so I'm just going to force his beads really quick. Now that I forced his beads, I can come back here and try to help out my Nezha. Gonna use a little 3. Gonna miss that, actually. Zoning out the Ymir from running away with my 2. He's gonna run back into us. I'm gonna pop my ulti, because we can get a good fight going off here. I'm gonna dive into the tower, tank this for my team, pop my 3, which is gonna heal my boys behind me. I'm gonna keep chasing through on the Ymir right now, just because he's an easy kill. Now I gotta be a little bit careful. I've got 2 on me. I'm still fine. Popping the heal for the boys again, looking for that knockup. Gonna reach the soul with it. Getting canceled out of my ultimate. Popping the thorns right there just to get a little bit of bonus damage. I'm gonna tell my Nezha to ward, because I can go ahead and TP into a ward if they go ahead and do it. It doesn't look like he's gonna go ahead and pop that ward, though. That's in his pocket. That's fine. I'm just gonna start running back out down the lane. So on our build, we've got 40% CDR. While you don't need exactly 40%, I would recommend at least 30% cooldown on Cthulhu. 40 is easy to get, so most games you'll probably get it. Build some HP, preferably Stone of Gaia, if you're only going to get one big fat HP item. And I love percent mitigations on Cthulhu. So Cthulhu's got the percent mitigations on his 1, and you can stack that with other percent mitigations. So Spirit Robe is the easiest go-to. You can pretty much buy a Spirit Robe in any situation. Also, Oni Hunter's Garb. If you are against a lot of magic damage, which will happen a lot right now with how good the auto attackers are, get yourself that Oni Hunter's Garb, and that'll give you even more percent mitigation. You stack that with a Spirit Robe and your 1, it is not uncommon for you to have 40 to 50% mitigations. That's flat damage being taken right off the top. Flat percent mitigations are also super good right now because of how much penetration is in the game. Penetrations work on your protections, but it does not cut through percent mitigations. That will always work for you. chasing down this Mulan right now. Oh, unfortunate. He didn't get that. I canceled out of my 2 because I do not hit. I wasn't going to hit, so I don't want to waste any more time channeling it. Going to go ahead and throw down a little stun here on Mulan. And that's going to go ahead and put him down. So with Cthulhu, most of your abilities in your regular form are not going to work through walls. You can't dash through walls. You can dash around walls. Your 2, you can throw over walls and stuff. While you're in your ultimate, though, it's kind of the opposite. In your ultimate, your 1 can go over walls. Your 2 can go over walls. The only ability that's not going to work over walls in your ultimate form is going to be your 3. I'm going to just go ahead and dash right when this guy comes down to make sure we get this kill. He can't try to dash into a wall or anything. It's going to do a lot more damage than my 2 would do with just that 1 burst shot. He probably shouldn't be chasing this Ymir, honestly, but we'll be able to get him quick enough that we should be able to shut down no problem. At the end of my build here, I went into OffDay. This is because 1, I'm very large right now and I'm feeling confident, but 2, I love penetration on Guardians. If you get big in the early game, if you don't get wrecked, I don't mind you grabbing a little bit of like selfish penetration, you know, on your Guardian, because that really lets you abuse your base damage, particularly on Lulu, because of how much damage he does inside of his ultimate. Having a little percent pen can go a long way. Just focusing here on the Phoenix now. I'm going to throw out my 2, try to zone out that Chernobog maybe from coming into this. He has to pop his beads and Aegis to live right there. Here at the end of the game, all I'm looking to do is be a big, annoying boy running out their backline. So right now I'm going to position myself in between me and the rest of my teammates. So that way, if Soul tries to go for me, I can go ahead and dash right at him. So I actually have to be careful right now. I might die here. I'm going to transform myself outside of my ulti. I will go down, but that's okay. It looked like my team got zoned out pretty hard on an Arachne, unfortunately. So they had a 3v1 going for that Arachne, and then she just dashed out of that wave. You saw how much damage I took, even with a fairly tanky build, against the Soul and the Chernobog. This would be the example of a team comp that you struggle with. On Cthulhu, 1 auto attacker with the Chernobog, 1 auto attacker on the Soul, and 1 auto attacker with the Arachne. 3 auto attackers is a really good comp for against a Cthulhu. Luckily, we had a really strong laning phase that helped us kind of not have to worry about them for so long. But now as we're getting into the ultra late stages of the game, you can see how much damage they can put out because I'm such an easy target to hit in my ultimate. Wow, that was a lot of Nejad damage. One thing to keep in mind, you cannot pop actives inside of Cthulhu Ultimate. But what you can do is you can pop your thorns before you go into your ultimate, which is one of the major reasons that I have thorns. You can pop thorns before you go into your ultimate, and it will stay on you inside of your ult. So this is a great way to try to fight back against those auto attackers. Is if you think you're going to get focused down in a fight, go ahead and pop your thorns first, then transform with your ultimate. And that way they have to choose between attacking you with thorns on or letting you beat on them while you're in your ultimate stance. This is why I always get thorns on Cthulhu. Your classic combination on Cthulhu is you're gonna be that you use your 2 to try to start off the fight, maybe pop some beads, maybe root some people, get them out of position. So you use your 2 to go right on the start of the fight. Then you use your 3 to get in range of everybody, get a stun off. Throw down your 1 if you think you're going to get the fear off or to get those mitigations. And then go ahead and pop your ultimate. Now that you've used all your abilities, you can go ahead and use your ulti in order to reset all of those cooldowns. And that way you can continue the fight. Once you're in that ultimate form, of course, your main concern is using your 2 and your 3 to make sure that your team is getting healed and you are getting as much CC as you can, like with your knockup. but you want to make sure you're getting the max use out of those abilities. So try to use all of your abilities, then go into your ultimate, use all of your abilities. Then when you come back out, you'll have your ability cooldowns back up again, as long as you've got a little bit of a CDR build. So then you can come right back and use all of those abilities right on over again. Main concerns on builds for Cthulhu: get the HP and cooldown online, particularly Stone of Gaia, to get that HP regen, which scales so well inside of your ultimate. Your ultimate gives you more HP. Stone of Gaia works off of your HP. You see how that is synergizing together. And of course, making sure you've got cooldown, and don't be afraid to be the very most aggressive front line for your team. And that is our Cthulhu guy.